trained and well led. Okay, so we got a nice command structure and so forth. Yes? And what? Resources. Guns. All right. How about this one? Weapons. So they need good weapons. Now, what's a good weapon? I mean, like, once upon a time, you know, in certain circumstances, a knife is a good weapon. I mean, you have to be pretty up close. What weapon can take out a guy with a knife before the guy with a knife gets close to you? A gun, right? What weapon can take out a guy with a gun before the guy with the gun gets within range? A bigger gun, yeah, like a drone or something. Put this down. I mean, it's kind of obvious. You're like, modern weapons. And that is actually important. Modern weapons. Our military needs to be equipped with plenty of modern weapons. Nuclear weapons, perhaps. It's not a bad idea to have nuclear weapons, although it's fascinating because if your country has nuclear weapons and my country has nuclear weapons, do we want to fight a war? And it's one of those weird things about modern history. When two adversaries end up both with nuclear weapons and the ability to use it, they both kind of back away from some of the conflicts. And sometimes they'll still fight using the other kinds of weapons, but yeah. Which is why, like North Korea, do they care about getting nuclear weapons? Yes, they've tried to get them. Have they got them? Yes. I mean, we tried everything to stop them from getting them. But it's nice to have a nuclear weapon, but unless you can deliver that nuclear weapon, I mean, the only time nuclear weapons have actually been used at war, twice. Which country? The United States. Against who? Japan. How were those nuclear weapons delivered? By airplane. That was the means of delivering them at that time. What would be a modern way to deliver a nuclear weapon against your opponent? Amazon. I love it, the new drone thing. It's got, I'm expecting a package. Uh-oh. No, I mean, missiles. You could have, anybody know what the acronym ICBM translates into? I'll give you the first one. IC, intercontinental. From one continent to the other. Ballistic. Ballistic means simply it goes up and then it comes back down. And then the last part is missile. And the United States has ICBMs. During the Cold War, the Soviets had ICBMs. The Russians still do. Has North Korea been trying to develop ICBMs so they could deliver them to the United States? Of course they have been trying to. Yeah, they've had some success. Right, so, yeah. Okay, so we've got modern weapons. Interesting question, because this kind of belies the question of modern weapons. Does every country get to have modern weapons? Frank, does every country get to have modern weapons? Or what do you have to have in a country to be able to have modern weapons? Money from what? Taxes? Tell me about the economy of your country that's got plenty of money. What does it look like? What are a lot of people doing? What kind of jobs do they have? Are they all working in the fields, growing crops? Or many of them working in factories? Yeah, you got to have industrialization. Write it down. You got to have industrialization. It's one of those things that, I mean, man, it was like we harp on this. The Civil War, the American Civil War, North versus South. Who won? North. North, thank you very much. Who was more industrialized? Who had more factories? Who had more weapons being produced by those factories in the war between the North and the South? North. Okay? So, you want to have a military, you want it well equipped with the latest modern weapons. Boom. That's going to be important. Okay? Now, here's some other kinds of things. Does it help to have friends when you're talking about your national security? Jimena, does the United States have friends when it comes to our national security? Do we got countries that'll be like, we'll come to your aid if you come to ours? What do they call those? Allies. Write it down. Allies. Military allies. Yo. It's like we are military allies with a whole bunch of European countries. It's called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. We'll talk about that as time goes on. NATO. Have you guys heard of NATO? Right? I mean, even some little countries like Estonia. You're going to learn about Estonian stuff. Yeah. Little tiny Estonia. They're, exactly. Yeah. Your sister used to live there? Really? she lives in Spain now. Wow, she's been around. There's a lot of different countries. Yeah. So Estonia used to be part of the Soviet Union. Now they're part of NATO. They're a free and independent country, and they're small, but they're military allies of ours. If they go to war, if someone goes to war against them, we're on their side. If someone goes to war against the United States, they'll come to our aid. So sometimes it helps to have good military allies. Got that? Here's something that, yes. That gets complicated. That happened in the 1970s. Two allies of the United States of America, Greece and Turkey, were fighting each other. Actually, the terms of our agreement with both of those countries are, if you fight each other, we're not bound to help either one of you. So please, just cut it out. All right? But that's a good question that comes up. Here's another one. Write this down. Some countries can meet their national security by being neutral. Now, that's a little bit problematic. Just over 100 years ago, there were a whole bunch of European countries that are like, can we sit this war out? We don't want to fight any more wars. And if the bigger, nasty countries attack you anyway, how much is your neutrality going to act as a way of stopping them? Like, not at all. Not at all. Let's throw something else into the mix. Geography. Geography. Geography and national security. This is a key part of my argument. Over the long span of history, geography can really help you or it can hurt you. Think of it this way. If you're a country that is trying to maintain national security, what are you better off? Flat or mountainous? What is easier geography to defend? Mountainous. So for example, in World War I and World War II, Switzerland, a very mountainous country, was like, we're neutral. And everyone's like, yeah, you're neutral. You're too much trouble to attack. You're so mountainous. Forget about it. Other flat-lying countries like Belgium, they just got invaded, even though they're like, we want to be neutral. You know, give us a break. Oceans, can they provide national security? Has the United States has oceans to protect us? Historically? Do our oceans protect us from all threats today? What kinds of threats do our oceans not protect us against? ICBM. Intercontinental, that meaning it goes from one continent over to the other. They developed it when I was really little, actually even before I was little. The Soviets did, we did. We had missiles on both sides that could hit the other side within the space of 10 or 15 minutes, yeah. Canada's interesting. Anybody know about the relationship between Canada and the United States? Are they for us or against us? For us. Us and Canada, we're like friends. We're part of the same military alliance. They are NATO allies of ours. We coordinate very carefully with Canada against outside threats. Yeah, it's a lot different than the War of 1812 when we were fighting. Now today we're like, yeah, Canada, we're with you, okay? So those are things that will help develop that national security. Britain, does Britain have good national security because of geography? Yeah. They have just a little bit of water between Britain and the rest of the continent of Europe. But what do you put on that water? Write it down. What do you put on water to make sure that that water is going to protect you? Boom! A navy. What kind of navy? A big modern navy. Exactly, a big modern navy. Because you want to wipe those guys out if they come after you. Okay? Time flies when we're having fun. Oh, look, there you go. There's Switzerland, safe in the mountains. Britain. What about Russia? Do they have lots of natural features to protect them? No. They have had to face invasion from the left, from the right, all over the place. And so in Russia, it's kind of like, what do we need to have? A big, powerful army with big, powerful leaders who will make sure that things are going to be secure. Enough of your talk about your silly freedomness. We'll continue to develop that. Wipe down the desk, if you would, please. And, yeah, give it about a minute or so. Yeah, I think it's... Yeah. Cool, I like that. I like that. Yes, I like the stars and the color. It's good. Now, you know, when I was in law school, people would study like law cases, and they take out different coloring things, and they would use like one color for one part of the case, another color for another part. It actually helps. Yeah, no, it actually helps as far as like memory retention and stuff. You guys, last period of the day, you got PE. That's cool. Well, it's not too hot out today, is it? Yeah, I know. It's like high in the upper 60s.